Hello Scorpio, welcome back to my channel. I am Mariana and I will do the vibes inside for you today. So the first thing I'm going to do, Scorpio, for you is that I'm going to use the Palo Santo here to smudge the area. And I think it's because I have a rather strong feeling of, independence, a sovereign place, that you want things. The smudging is done because we are trying to remove something from our space, our home, our environment, our aura, or something that feels off because it's not what we want in our life. So we are cleansing. That's what it does. It's cleansing. But there is something else about it. The cleansing part for this reading, it has to do with like you could say that you are the one in charge. So this, I feel like it has to do with reclaiming power. It's something about I'm smudging my space, my life, maybe my I don't know. Maybe you are cleansing your belongings. You throw stuff out, or you give it to like recycling or something. Maybe you're doing a cleanse like in your home, but it's something about that I want to choose. I want to be the one who is releasing myself from something. So by maybe, like doing a clean in your house, or you sort your things, you make a decision on what it is that you want to keep. And maybe even if you throw everything out, you are maybe buying something new, but it has to be your choice, your style, your it's important that it has to come from you. So the smudging here you can take it how it resonates in your life. It can be, maybe you're saying goodbye to certain friends. Like you're suddenly not wanting them in your life anymore. It's like, because it's like, it's not really you, right? I feel a little bit like I hear rekindle something, rekindle. It's almost maybe like a part of yourself, like you're rekindling something or remembering something about yourself. And because you're doing that, you're suddenly looking at your life and it's like, I can't really see myself here anymore. Like, or I can't see myself in this marriage. I can't see myself in these relationships, in this work. I can't see myself in. That's not really me at all. It's not really me at all. Maybe you're saying it, like maybe you are putting out some boundaries and saying, no, but yeah, I hear you. You want to go partying this weekend, but I don't know, I just don't want to. Or the opposite. Yeah, you want to sit home and just watch a movie, but I want to go and have a party. I want to go out there. I want to have something real in my life, right? Scorpio, you're very passionate. So if you lose the passion for life, I think if you lose the passion for life, it's like taking a vital, it's like taking the oxygen from you, right? It's like if there's nothing to be passionate about, if it's lost, if it's gone, if I can't find that passion, it's like I can't breathe. It's like I've lost a part of myself, a vital part of myself that I just can't. I become something else then. It's like if that cannot be part of my life, or I have lost it, it's disappeared in a relationship or something. It's like there is no oxygen. I can't survive here. If I have to survive, I have to become something else. I cannot be a Scorpio then. I have to become something else. Otherwise, I cannot sustain myself here. I cannot be me, right? Maybe you are realizing that you actually did become someone else. That you did become, I don't know, let's say you became a steady-going Capricorn, right? You became a steady-going Capricorn. Instead, very earthy, very practical. Let's say you have Capricorn somewhere in your chart, and somehow that took over instead of your Scorpio. And I'm not reading only for Scorpio suns here. You can have Scorpio moon, you can have Scorpio rising, right? Take it how it resonates. It's just maybe you became something else. In a process, you became something else, perhaps. Life kind of led you down a road, and now you're realizing, I ended up being a Capricorn, or I ended up being a Libra. But the passion is gone, or the depth of something. You're the deep waters Capricorn. Capricorn. I'm saying that now. You're the deep water Scorpio, right? You can't quite. You do have like shadow elements in you, right? It's part of you. The dynamic of the good and bad, I think, is very. It draws you in somehow. The mystical realms, the occult, the strange, the weird, the outlaws, the rebellion. Maybe it's drawing you in. It draws you in to somehow figure this out, understand it, or being able to deal with it. Maybe being able to deal with it, handle like really, you could say, tumultuous feelings in yourself or maybe around you. So this idea of being able to handle it, and if it's not right quite there, it's like there's no oxygen for you. There's nothing that draws you in. There's no passion that keeps you on edge, that keeps you ready to go. Right? You are a masculine water sign. So there's nothing to fight for, I want to say. Yeah. Masculine water sign, right? There's nothing to fight for. It's like there has to be something to fight for. And if that's gone, Scorpio, it's like you can't breathe, right? It's that big of a deal for you. Let's say that a marriage has become so safe and so trustworthy and good and nice and pleasant and clean and, sober and everything, then I get almost the feeling of, I can't breathe here, right? This is too nice, or too there's nothing mysterious here. There's nothing to be found out. I know everything. I know my partner. I know everything about them. We have a solid, beautiful, great life. It's nice, but that's what it is. It's nice, and nice is not always good for Scorpio, I think. If you are real with yourself, right? There has to be something to fight for, something to, yeah, there's this word rekindle. Maybe you are wanting to rekindle something, and you need to leave something that is nice. Do you understand what I mean? Like, maybe it's rekindling your own flame. Like, you need to go out and rekindle your own flame. You have to find the warrior in you, and what you have to fight for. What is worth fighting for, Scorpio, right? What is worth rekindling, maybe? What is worth discovering in yourself that has been lost along the way? Along the way of, I don't know, education, work, job, marriage, children. What has been lost? I get the feeling of something was lost or disappeared, and it's kind of, it's returning. There is something that could be returning, a memory, maybe a longing for something or someone, because that connection had a certain element of tension. It had a certain element of mystery to it. Something you couldn't figure it out. Maybe it was a person that you couldn't, like you couldn't. I use the word devour in Scorpio readings sometimes. This is what I have. The devouring is it's a power play. This idea of I can somehow conquer this. Again, there's something to fight for. I need to fight for something. I can conquer something, or I want to conquer it, but it doesn't want to be conquered. Do you get my point? That creates the tension. It creates this mystery. Why can't I seem to get this done? I want to have the upper hand, or I want to be the one in control. I want to own this or command it, or and if I can't have that, it's nagging at me, right? It's nagging at me to the point that it can become obsessive. I can obsess about it. I want to own it. I want to be able to control it. I want to keep it. Like that, there's a need to fight for something. It has to have this edge to it, this. But now I'm talking about something that is maybe a bit shadowy, because if you want to go out on the dating market and you put yourself out there and you say, well, I'm this nice, great guy, but I want to devour you, right? That's maybe not the greatest thing to say to a young, pretty girl out there. Or the opposite, you want to say it to a man. Yeah, I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking for someone who I can devour and control and like keep in a leash, like something like that. But I believe there is a sense of power play in Scorpio dynamics. It's part of their, you could say, the mystery of Scorpio. It's part of their secrets, maybe. It's part of their but also the magnetism. Like if someone actually, I wouldn't, because devour is like, it's not just that you're eating someone. Devouring is more than that. I eat them and I draw from their flesh everything I can as energy or as fuel for me. Like there's something like really to it, I feel like. I don't know exactly. This is what I'm tuning into. It's quite intense. I don't mind. I have a Jupiter Scorpio, so I don't mind. This is just, yeah. But I feel like Jupiter, or Scorpio it's a very interesting energy because it gives an edge to everything that we wanna look at in the world, and we present it as good, right? Oh yeah, my son is or my daughter is well off, right? They have just left college and they are doing the right thing. They are reasonable and they are well mannered, and now they have this beautiful position in this company, right? I believe as Scorpio, who is listening to a story like that, they would look for the edges in this perfect picture, right? They would look for the edges, something you can. There's something about this perfect picture of this young girl or this young man. There has to be an edge to it, right? There has to be something. Maybe they are, to deal with the university degree and the life at university and all the homework and all this stuff. Maybe they are using, some kind of drugs or something to stay awake and read all night. And, that's Scorpio. It's like, I want to find the edge. I want to find this little hole, and then I stick onto it. Like, I really want to, I want to be able to be the one who sees right through. You have these big antennas out, right? You can scan a person, right? It's like you can see this where it's not that polished, right? The polished surface. I believe Scorpio, that you can look through it somehow. We have an ability to look through it, and this idea of maybe locating dishonesty, or this is a fine polished picture that you are showing me. And you have the diamond ring on this perfect marriage. But what's going on in there, right? Nobody is that perfect. Scorpio knows that. Nobody is that perfect, right? Nobody is. And you can pick it up. You pick it up what it's about. You know somehow that there's something edgy. That always is something edgy. When something seems very perfect, there usually is an edge somewhere. Something that is not said, shown, a secret side to something, right? Like those stories that we may have heard from the Catholic priests, right? Who's abusing children behind the doors, or the very successful top elite CEO, business owner, who is at night time when nobody is looking, he is visiting a dominatrix down the corner. Something. That's Scorpio. That's you. That's you. No. More. That is you. That's Scorpio. This is your terrain. This is where you are. You may be not saying it, but this is where you are actually comfortable, right? This little smile in the corner of your face, right? And this, I know, right? There's something here. I know something. I know something about you, right? I can feel it. I can smell it. It's like an endorphin. Right, an endorphin, I can pick it up. I can smell your weaknesses also. That Scorpio, I feel like this devouring thing, it's about looking for, scanning for weaknesses, perhaps, right? Scanning for weaknesses that could be exploited, or but that could be a shadow element. Scorpio also talks about like the deepest, most vulnerable, passionate love. Something that definitely is worth fighting for. So, which one are you, Scorpio? The deep love, passionate, devoted. In that area, you don't have the devouring. You are actually taming the devouring because the love is bigger. So you could say it's like a predator who is stopping themselves from attacking because there's something there that is more. And now I have this, now it's coming in, it's a line from the movie Silence of the Lambs. I don't know if you know it, with Anthony Hopkins, and what is she called? I can't remember right now. But Anthony Hopkins is playing a role of a serial killer. And he is, I would say, a devouring one. He actually is, because he eats his victims. So he's a cannibal. And he's a serial killer. But there is this young police officer, Clarice, in the movie. And he sees right through her that she's new, she's a novice, she's young, she knows something, but she is of course quite inexperienced in dealing with such characters as him. He ends up getting out of the life sentence that he had in prison. He ends up escaping. And one of the lines is that he allows Clarice to be in this world because he could see right through her. He could understand, he got to understand why she became a police officer, why she wanted to help humans, why she wanted to become that person, even though she was actually deep down a vulnerable, there was a wounding in her, a vulnerable wounding. And because she showed her vulnerability to him, he could read her. Because he saw the vulnerability, she was not a threat to him. He was sovereign in that being. He definitely knew that he could at any time scare her. And he is a killer in the movie, a cannibal. He would definitely devour. But it's like there is no real equal fight in attacking someone who is not a threat to me. The real threat, or the one that I would attack, is someone who is a threat to me. Someone who would take my power away from me. Someone who would put me in prison. He actually would rather have her in the world. Even if she was looking for him, as a police officer looking for him, he would rather have her there because she was no threat. He saw her vulnerability. He saw her and understood. And therefore it's like the world is a more, maybe a beautiful place for him because of it. He knew that he could not change. He would never change. But maybe he hoped that if he would let her be, it would be one good deed, right? It would be one good deed amongst all the terrible he's done. It would be one good deed. But one thing about him is that he knows that he's a predator. He knows that he cannot stop himself. He will do it again and again and again. Whenever he feels threatened, or just because he can, he would do it again. So there is something about really getting to know yourself here, right? That you have, maybe you have an inbuilt, like prey in you that wants to devour and control and have and domineer and, something like that. And like a masochistic thing going on. Not masoch, what is that? Sadistic, maybe, like some, I don't know why I get this, but maybe like this devouring thing, the predator, the ownership, the conquering, right? It's like an emperor conquering a land because of power, because I want to become bigger, because I want to show the world how big I am, right? Or so how mighty I am. So because maybe you have something like that in you. And the only thing that could make you not want to go towards it is if it's either not a threat to you or not an interesting target. Not an interesting target. If the target is not interesting enough, you will not go towards it, right? There must be something about this target, this thing, this job, this land, this job situation, this education, that there must be something that hooks you in. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. And maybe you need to figure out what that is. What is it that hooks you in? To the point of becoming obsessive about it, like really wanting to own it, right? Why do you want to own it? Why is it so important for you to do that? To own it, to have it, to control it, to devour it, to fuel from the flesh, right? This like I really get a feeling of like good and bad here, like this feeling of that a part of you is really, maybe it has been shamed a lot, like a feeling that you are looking at it, you're looking at how you're acting, maybe why you are doing the stuff you're doing, and how it has been maybe shamed. As I said in the beginning, something about becoming something else. Maybe you became a Capricorn, right? Instead, something steady, long-term, committed, focused. Maybe you needed to implement some of this. Otherwise, you would constantly be preying on something. Maybe you needed like to balance something. You needed to really become like maybe having some tools, right? Following certain steps, or having some tools. Now I suddenly think about the 12-step program of AA, that the prey could be that you want the alcohol, right? That you want to devour it, you want to drink it, right? it has a hold on you somehow. And this other part of you that you may have been following, let's say you became an alcoholic, and now you are trying to not be. And you did the steps. You became a member of AA. You followed the steps. You have been sober for many years, maybe. And maybe you are now in a process where you're trying to understand why something was so why this became maybe an addiction or an obsession, that you somehow had to connect with this. You somehow had to unite with it. What happens in this union? What happened when you were drinking, for instance? What is happening to you, with you, when you are drinking, if this is what we're talking about? What is it? Why was it that you wanted it that badly, right? And maybe with Mercury retrograde, maybe there has been this urge to drink again, right? This urge to be preying again on something. Why is that? What happens when you drink? When this come together, what happens in that moment? It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. What does it mean for you? What happens there? What is it you are achieving, getting, experiencing in that moment? And this is where you have to become really real about yourself. You are the deep waters here. I wanted to say Capricorn again. You are the deep waters here, Scorpio. What happens in this connection when these two come together? I could come with many suggestions here. I could say maybe you it's a way of numbing yourself, right, from the life you have. It is a way of escaping something. It is a way of creating something else in your existence that you can't find otherwise. You are all about death, transformation, and rebirth. That is Scorpio, death card in tarot. You are about, it has to have an intensity, that there must be some kind of tension to it. Tension is your area. That is you. It's part of you. It's inbuilt in you. And I want to say it's probably something about how to handle that tension. One of your life lessons is handling this tension. Not breaking from it, not submitting to it, or fawning to it and become an addict, but definitely standing in the midst of it, facing it directly and handling it. Yeah, okay, this is what I have that feeling. And I'm not really a great judge of good and bad. I'm really, to me, it just is. Like, even, I wouldn't go look for it, but the sociopaths, the psychopath, and the sadistic behavior, the cruel behavior, that we call it, right? Humans call it that. In my more spiritual understanding of the world, I see them as just like an outer post of something. And then we have all the Samaritans, the healers on the other end, right? So we have something that gives life, that preserves life, and we have something that takes it, devours it, right? There are two opposites of a spectre here, and that's what I think is. It's just that there's something inbuilt in you, something that you are wanting, something you're wanting to connect with, I feel like. And usually it becomes more and more evident if you, for a Scorpio at least, the Scorpio energy, that then has to be something to fight for. It has to be worth fighting for, even. It has to be worth fighting for, otherwise I wouldn't go there. The target or the goal of something must have there's something about it that lures you, that wants you to go there. Otherwise you wouldn't do it. You would leave it be. You would leave it be. So what is it for you if you want to connect with something, conquer something? What is it that is worth conquering? Maybe it is true, deep love, right? But again, as I said, there is a thin line between the devouring, the holding, the squeezing, the squeezing the life out of something, and then stopping yourself from devouring, looking at it, and actually think, I can't devour this. Like, this is, I want it, but I can't, because if I do that, I'm killing it. I can't, and then I lose it, right? So from being like attacking and out there to retrieving and needing to figure out, but how do I handle an urge to control something or have it somehow by not having it. So by not having it, I feel a tension of urging for something, but I'm not doing it. Because if I do, I could potentially lose it, or I will simply kill it. It will no longer exist. As I said with Anthony Hopkins, it's like he saw the world as a better place with her in it. She allowed him to see a woman who had a wounding. She had emotions. He saw her emotions. He was allowed to look in. He saw her struggle. He saw her struggle to overcome her wounding, and how to somehow bravely try to do that every day. And he had respect for that, I think. Right? He had respect for that. So there are some values here. There can be some very, very pure values here that somehow is making you retrieve. Because if I'm killing this, if I'm devouring this, it's no longer in the world. Something could be that valuable that I can't really do that. If I do that, And I'm drawn to do it. I'm drawn to take it, right? But if I'm doing it, it's almost like you're killing a part of yourself by doing it. By doing it, you're killing something vital to you. Or you're taking it away. It's no longer as it was. Like it's no longer the same. Like a part of the attractiveness of something here. A part of an attractiveness is gone. If I devour this, it's gone. It no longer has the same kind of like attractiveness. So you see that's a part of the hunter, right? The hunter would go for a prey that looks very great. But when he has it, he has killed it or he is owning it, and he takes it back with him, puts it into a shed or something, it doesn't have the same value, right? It's no longer the same quality to look at it. When it was in the wilderness, in its terrain, here the hunt was interesting. Here the to be able to connect with it or have it or find it or shoot it or whatever, to have it here is much more interesting. Scorpio is formless, it's watery, it's that it's between the lines. Having the prey is actually not, it's the hunt of it, or it's the story of it. The story of it is much more interesting than actually having the prey. When you get the prey, it's no longer that interesting. So let's say if you are a player, your hunting ground is the club, right? So your hunting ground is to go to the Saturday night, going out. What you want is maybe to hook up with someone. But the day after, it doesn't have the same quality to it. Waking up with that person after sex or something, it doesn't have the same quality to it. There's something it's gone. It's not there anymore. Do you get my point? That there's something, it changes. Like if you see a wild horse, a group of wild horses out there, they run wild, no reins, nobody owns them. But when you own them, when you catch them and you take them home and you train them and you put reins on them and you can ride on them, there is a part of their appeal is gone. The wilderness, this untamed thing, the untamed thing is part of the attractiveness. That something is untamed or, I don't know, innocent, new, it's something like that. Because it's that, if I take it, something will change. It doesn't have the same appeal. So maybe I shouldn't do that. I should not do that. Right? I would rather honor it. I would rather honor this untamed thing. Or maybe it's like I said, a horse or something, right? I would rather honor it. Because as long as when I take it home, it's not the same. Okay, something like that. That's what I get. I hope, yeah, I don't know. I hope this helped. Okay, so let's have a look at the cards here. Okay, I'm turning the cards here so you can see them. And again, the cards, I really feel like with these decks, yeah, I don't necessarily get the full story when I'm here, but I feel like I'm just starting to talk here. So the Violet Flame is the first card out. This card came out for, was it Libra? Virgo, Libra. It's one of the last readings I've done. One of the 2 last readings. Was it Libra? I think. I can't remember. But what I get from, first of all, in that reading, it came across as kind of confusing. Like, I think it was Virgo, actually. Virgo. Maybe you have Virgo in your chart, or you have been dealing with a Virgo here. So it came across as quite confusing. Like that whatever you have been dealing with here, it came across as, I felt like when I looked at the card, it's like there was so much that could potentially be symbolic for something. And to find the real reason or the real meaning with this card was kind of difficult. But what I came to kind of center around is this feeling that something comes from a higher perspective of self to you here. It's given to you. And it hits a bullseye here. It hits a bullseye of understanding or meaning or something. That something finally comes to light for you. Realizing something about yourself, maybe. Realizing something about someone else, maybe. And because of that, you find some kind of peace. Or, as I said, you allow it to be. And you're no longer wanting, again, I know for Scorpios, it could be about revenge. It could be about, if someone hurt me, I want to hurt them, right? There are some very strong emotions in Scorpio, and sometimes they can come out like that. But it's because you actually are, like, the passion you have for something. If you get yourself involved in something, it's that deep. And if someone hurts you there, at a very vulnerable place, perhaps, it can kind of break you, actually. It can break you to the point of becoming darker, you could say, in how you're thinking, how you're acting. You could become obsessed with revenge or something like that. Is one of the deep waters of Scorpio. I'm not saying it is, but that could also be why you got into drinking, right? Or why you got yourself, you had some kind of addiction. Why you wanted to numb yourself, why you wanted to escape, run away, why you wanted to, you know, it could even be, and I'm just throwing it out there, the drinking could be a tool not to do something worse than that. You know, like, so an addiction or a drinking problem or any other kind of numbing strategy could actually come into place for you, because if I'm not doing that, potentially I know about myself that maybe I could use other measures and they would be catastrophic and mean and evil and something, you know, something like that. And I'm not judging. I'm just saying that this is Scorpio territory here. Like this is, and I'm really not judging. I have been studying narcissism and psychopathy and something like that for years, and I want to understand. I want to understand why someone can do stuff like that, and they can if something specific happens that changes everything, that changes everything about their life, their circumstances, survival mechanisms, and all this stuff. And it's not to say that it's okay, but it explains something. And I'm not saying you are there at all. I'm just saying, if you have feelings of revenge, if you have feeling of wanting to guilt trip someone or shame them or point fingers or hold someone accountable or something like that, I understand. I understand that you could go there, that could be your choice. I want to say you do have a choice, though. You have a choice. It's here. Two of Michael here. Two of Swords. Two of Swords can talk about not knowing exactly where to go. Like it's like, should I go one way or the other? Should I choose one horse or the other? Right? It says here, it will all be better if you just make a decision. Overanalyzing a problem. So the card is about overanalyzing a problem. You have to find a compromise, maybe. And I believe a broken Scorpio will have a lens looking at the world in either a black and white scene. Either something is okay with you or it's not. Either it's good or it's bad. If you have a broken heart, Scorpio, that could be how you're thinking. Something here hits bullseye. We just had the full moon in Scorpio. That could have been something significant for you. A powerful lunar eclipse. Maybe you are quitting something here. Quitting an addiction. Or you're quitting a behavior because you realize something. Or you're choosing to get to the bottom of something. That you have a certain behavior or certain ways of thinking, certain things you do, or you have been numbing yourself or something here. But something here hits bullseye here. You're realizing something. It could be that you're hitting rock bottom. You're hitting the bullseye, the rock bottom of something. finally realizing maybe something about yourself that you have tried not to look at it. You have said that this is not me. I'm not like that. Whatever people have been saying to you, you didn't care. This could have been a self-destructive behavior, like drinking or drugging, numbing, gaming, sexual addiction, something like that. Maybe you are hitting rock bottom, as in you are realizing something here. You become very raw and very honest about yourself, and actually seeing what you may have done, or something may have been done to you, and why after that you had a certain behavior. I feel a little bit like it's your behavior though. But I also want to say there's always a reason. If people are acting out of character, you could say, or are not nice or friendly or loving, caring, there is a reason for it. There's always a reason. Whether whether people want to understand, whether they want to give others a chance or something like that, there's always a choice. There's always a reason why people are not loving, why they have closed their heart down, why they are maybe arrogant or selfish, or why they chose to become players, for instance, or manipulators, liars. There is a reason for that. I don't know, right? I'm just putting it out there. It doesn't have to be you. It can be the other way around. Maybe it's a person you have been dealing with here, right? But there's always a reason. And I think that something is hitting rock bottom here. You're realizing something. It has come to an end. I feel like something has come to an end. Maybe a misery, a feeling of disconnect, or like you have a memory. You find the key of something. You have found the key of something here. Or you finally have the final puzzle piece. And when you put that in place, it's like, oh yeah, now I get it, right? Now I get it. It says here, rest and rejuvenate. That's what I feel like. It's like you've been a warrior on some kind of quest here. And the battle is now over. Rest and rejuvenate here. The battle is over. Or if you have realized something about a certain behavior, you are now trying to figure out how to not devour it, or how to not go there, perhaps. How to make a different choice here. Because you're realizing something about it. It's the rest and rejuvenation can talk about that you found the last puzzle piece. The war is over, or the search for something, or I don't know, a realization came in, a kind of epiphany came in, and you are standing now. It's time to maybe have a rest. Rejuvenation is, like refreshing yourself. Maybe you could freshen up. You could make a new choice. Rest and rejuvenate could talk about detox clinics. That you need to go somewhere and you need to detox, right? Maybe you need help with this, right? Maybe you need help to somehow get yourself out of a situation here. Maybe it's someone you know. Like maybe you know a person who is in that situation. Maybe you're the one driving them there, right? Maybe you're the one driving them to the detox clinic. A place where they can get into balance again. Have rest, or, they could maybe be relieved of the worries of the world for a time being. And you are the one driving them there, right? You're the one taking them there, or you are being driven there by someone else, or you're going there deliberately, and you're choosing that. That's what I feel like. Hitting bullseye, hitting rock bottom. Somehow I get I'm not sure it has to do with alcohol and detox clinics, right? It could be you're realizing something. I've talked about this a bit in the, I believe, all the way back from Leo, Virgo, Libra readings. Something about the change of perspective. That something comes in from your higher self here, where you're realizing something, like an epiphany. Something that really hits rock bottom here. Or it hits like the bullseye. Something you have been maybe searching for, looking for, hoping for. And it allows you to somehow finally have a rest, or a balance, you would say. It feels a little bit like the battle is over, or I am in when I think about the detox clinic, well, for someone to drink can be a way of numbing, right? If it gets out of hand, it tells you, like the one who is drinking, but also the surrounding, the people around them, it tells them that something is more chaotic here. It's more chaotic and wild and untamable, right? So when I drink, I become untamed. I become wilder. Nothing can really tame me, right? Under the influence of alcohol, I'm kind of untamed from the world. It may be a dysfunctional choice. It may be not a good choice, right? For your body and everything. But it's a way of coping about something. And it's a way of releasing myself of reins of the structure of the world. And if I hit rock bottom, there is something else happening here. Now I get help. I get to the detox clinic, and when I get there, now there is a structure that takes care of me. So the drinking, what is the drinking actually about? Is it about numbing a loss? Maybe deep down you actually want structure, you want something to care for you. Something to take care of you, right? I don't know. It just popped into my head, so I'm saying it. So to go, you have to go the steps deeper. Go dig deeper to see what is else there. You will figure something out there. So something is being realized. And with that comes a sense of either, I want to say, detox, help, or I want to say maybe a choice here. A choice to do something, to give yourself rest, right? To give yourself rest. Maybe you're realizing something that you have been very shamed for, right? You have been very shamed for it. You have even been shaming yourself for it, perhaps. As I said, maybe you became the Capricorn, right? So instead of going wildly after something, you became the Capricorn who takes these solid steps towards something. A slower hunt, you could say. But very practical and very earthy. The quick devouring thing is more animalistic. Not everyone likes that. They think it's too aggressive, right? And maybe you are judged for it. Judged for being aggressive, maybe. Where a Capricorn is taking these solid steps, right? To get to the goal. And they never give up. They are determined, goal-oriented. They never give up. They're focused and they go towards it. And they follow the steps, you could say, of Earth and society and everything, to go for it. That's the way it's done here on Earth, right? That's the most appropriate way of getting to a goal. Not being an aggressive devourer, but taking the more solid, strong, practical steps towards something. And that is the right way. In that way, you're not offending anyone, right? But maybe you are realizing, yeah, I get it. I became that Capricorn here. I became this other. I did the different steps here, but actually, I am a devourer, right? I am an aggressive devourer. I want to grab it as quick as possible. Why should I have to wait 3 years to get the right job or the right education or something? I want to grab it now. Maybe you are realizing that, but I am a grabber. I am someone who wants it quick. I want it now. I don't want to wait. I don't want to do the 12-step program. I want a quick fix. I want it now. I want it today, right? And that could be a thing that maybe you need to realize. I have this compulsion. I have this compulsion. And owning it, knowing that this is part of me. Maybe it's part of you. It doesn't have to be that you use it all the time. But it's part of you. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It's inbuilt in you. It's part of maybe the scorpionic tendency in you. It's part of you. Not to be shamed, not to be hidden, not to be put aside. It's actually what gives you real passion. It revives you. It gives you oxygen. To have this part of you is a vital flame in you. And to know it, to get to know it, to understand it, to have a dialogue with it is maybe much better for you, instead of hiding it or shoving it away or Here you can sit and rest and rejuvenate with it, talking to it, trying to understand it. The rest and rejuvenation, I feel like it could be the feeling of an inner battle that you have tried to keep something down that is actually a vital part of you. This card, it says the journey, but I can't seem to, when I look at her or him, when I look at him, he has these like crossed arms over the heart chakra. I feel like it's a journey of self-love here. Like the journey of coming back to who you are and really owning this special thing about you, right? Whatever it is. It can be that you love deeply and passionately, and you can't do anything about it, right? It's part of you. It's a big part of you. It's the oxygen you breathe, right? You can't not be that. That would be like shutting a part of yourself down. And actually owning it could make you feel more rested, more balanced. Owning it would be, and it would probably give you a sense of well, I am like this. Maybe it has, developed into a dysfunction, like a sex addiction, right? Or drinking or something. But there is a reason why I'm doing it. I'm now getting help, or I go to a detox clinic, right? Or I talk to a therapist about it, and I'm becoming real about it. And the more real I become about my tendency or my behavioral or my thoughts, maybe obsessive thoughts, right? The more I become aware of it, the more I get to know it, the more I relax, the more I understand it. Why I have this urge, why is it there? The more I understand it. And because I understand it, it's no longer a part of me that I'm running from or numbing or hiding, or I actually own it, right? Maybe this is, like sitting at AA for the first time and telling everyone that I'm an alcoholic. Owning that would actually maybe be in, maybe it's not something you say to others. This can be something you are just saying to yourself, that you are becoming aware of something. And I've tried to not be it. Again, it could be, let's say you are homosexual, but you have always not been that. As I said, the Capricorn would be traditional, earthbound. It could be you have been in a marriage, right? And you have done all the right steps. You have done everything you were told, right? Getting the right career, the good marriage, the good love, but there's something missing there for you. You have maybe a beautiful wife or a beautiful husband, but it's not you, right? It's like, and owning that, maybe saying to yourself, I'm gay. I'm actually gay. Right? I'm gay and I'm owning it. That is giving you a sense of, right, a sense of relief somehow. But it also means that maybe you need to make a choice here. A difficult choice. Again, maybe you have a husband and wife here, and you have someone you are interested in. Same sex perhaps, or something, right? And you have to make a choice between them. And that's what I feel like. What is giving you the most peace here? I want to say inner peace, maybe not outer peace. So if you are leaving a wife or a husband and children, maybe they are not understanding. There could be a lot of drama there, and quarrels and fighting and like disappointment and something. But there's something about a journey towards something here, and I see it as self-love, self-care, and really owning who you are here. Like he has this owl as a headpiece here, owning that you are maybe different in some way, or owning some certain very like maybe some very shameful feelings, or that there's nothing wrong with you, right? There's nothing wrong with you. But there is a reason. There could be a reason for why you're doing what you're doing, or thinking, or why you had some kind of behavior. I also see in this card, I see something about self-forgiveness. Like I'm owning me, right? And maybe I have to forgive myself because I may have done stuff, right? I may have behaved in a certain way, done stuff, maybe even with like really bad intentions. I did it to preserve myself. I did it to give revenge, or I have acted out, perhaps. You know, and this is a journey. I really feel like I see him as like sitting with himself and like owning his shit, maybe, sitting in it. And that could be also what this is about, right? That that you are realizing something that makes you need to make a certain decision, maybe a difficult one, maybe going into therapy, right? But you're working with the stuff that is difficult, or a detox clinic or something, right? And in that place, you're finding some kind of rest or rejuvenation. I see this also as like a rebirth card. In this place, you have a way of rebirthing yourself, but the rebirthing may come through a journey of self-awareness, self-forgiveness, maybe seeking maybe forgiveness with others, because of what you may have done. Or if this is someone you know, they are going through a process where they are needing to own up to something here, I think. Realizing that maybe you made really bad choices for yourself and others. Maybe you have inflicted pain on others and yourself. But the reason why you have done it is because of something you're realizing here. So the journey here talks about an invitation to step outside the boundaries of your life as you know it. The journey is not a holiday. It is a call to be hermit-like and to go on a pilgrimage into the unknown. There are no maps to the territory you will be exploring, no market paths or road signs. It is a time to embark on the great journey. Do not linger in the port when distant shores are calling. Fearlessly draw your own navigational chart as you discover the route. When the time is right, as it is now, you will be led through, even when you are not sure of where you are going. It is the departure that is most important. If you miss the boat, a great opportunity will be lost, and another ship may not arrive for a very long time. The journey is calling you, but the timing seems maybe a bit premature. Collecting postcards or fantasies of where you want to go may take over your focus, and you may miss your destiny or the ship. Other things must be completed first, you feel, or you may still be attached to knowing a destination or outcome. Remember that the point of the journey is not the destination, it's who you will become as you are transforming along the way. Do not confuse the inner and the outer journey. Yeah. So there is definitely an invitation to jump on the boat, to make a decision here. Something that definitely feels more right to you, more balanced, whatever it is. It could be, as I say, it's not a holiday. It's a journey to go within, look for something, into the unknown. He's meditating here. Maybe you're doing a lot of meditation to seek something, but there is something about the heart, knowing something about yourself here. You may be hesitant. The Two of Michael talks about like being indecisive about what to do with whatever you are realizing here. You're realizing something, but maybe you're hesitant about what to do with it. Can I trust it? Is this the right thing for me? But still, I feel that you hear the calling. You hear the calling to go somewhere. You hear that calling. Let me get these drivers out here. Interesting. This one was in the Libra reading, I think, the Portal Keeper. So I'm taking the bottom of the deck here now. I'm taking the bottom of the deck. I call them the drivers, because it's something that with this stirring within you that drives a process forward. A subconscious thing, maybe. A subconscious need for healing. Or as I said, what is it you're connecting with when you are doing this thing in your life? So there's something you want to unite with, or have, or be with, or own, devour, conquer, perhaps. So how does that make you feel in that moment? The hunt, the very scene when you are no longer, you are hunting, but you get it, you hit the target. So again, I said here, hitting rock bottom, hitting the target. What is it about the hitting the target where something surrenders and becomes yours? Or what is it that you are experiencing in that exact moment? What kind of thrill, what kind of victory, or whatever you feel here? What kind of connection do you have here? Of power or something, right? You just have to get real with that, I think. So I have the drivers out here, and they are all this like urging something that wants to be brought forward. It has to come to the surface. It has to be there somehow. And when I get in tune with that, it allows me to have a very certain feeling, right? But usually we have a lot of protective mechanisms that keep it down or keep it locked away, because it was unwanted, it was shamed, it was too much or too little, or it was too ugly, too intense, something. And we shove it away, and you became the Capricorn, right? Or something like that. But it's still there. Hidden in your subconscious, it's still there. So what I get from these cards are actually very spiritual. The drivers are very spiritual. The portal keeper is about another realm, accessing another realm. The ancient ones, ancestors, deceased loved ones, the high priestess here. This is all about powerful psychic insights, reflection, meditation that provides valuable information. Be at peace, it says here. What I feel like here is actually maybe you have an inner shaman in you, an inner, the card is high priestess or high priest, I want to say, if you're a man. And maybe you're realizing that. Like you're realizing something is becoming obvious to you here, that you have something in you, but it may have been deeply denied. Very much denied. To the point that you became something else. You managed your life in a totally different way. It had a very strong impact on you. Being that dishonest to yourself, living a false self, maybe here. And what you're doing is now you're trying to come back. Right? And with the rest and rejuvenation, maybe this is what was needed. We have the card here all tied up. All tied up. That's exactly what I talk about. This part of you has been all tied up, hidden. She is bound here, like she can't move. Imprisoned, in your mind, or you have some abilities here, and they have been hidden. They have been repressed, forgotten about, maybe shamed, banished. I had some of this come up, I think, in the Virgo reading also. Something banished, something forgotten, something hidden, something like that part of you is an outlaw. This ability you have here, it has been all tied up. And that's why you need rest, time, maybe a bit isolation, like you are away from the normal environment. You need detox. You need to get yourself away from, I said that in the beginning with the smudging, like you need to get away from what is your normal influence and what you're normally doing, your normal way of conducting your life. Sometimes it happens on a spiritual journey that we get isolated from other people. It's like it's just falling apart somehow. And it has to be done like that, because otherwise you will never leave your comfort zone. The comfort zone, this is not a comfort zone. What you're experiencing here is not going to be a comfort zone. It's not a holiday. You will go through stuff here. You have to make a choice. But what I hope I can promise you with this is that you will figure out who you are here. I talked about maybe a few years back, 2 years I think. I've made several readings in the Scorpio sign where I talked about that a storm is coming, that something is coming. This could be it, that you are now in a journey where you are discovering something here about yourself. Some very really deep and often unspoken stuff, right? because the Scorpio tension and these, I've talked about some of this in this reading, they are highly potent in discussions, right? And it's so easy to point fingers. People would point fingers at some of this, right? That it would be unwanted, undesired, too much tension, too much pressure. It's too demanding, right? Something like that. Maybe you feel like what you are trying to open up here, the High Priestess, the Portal Keeper, the Ancient Ones, that whatever this is too much. Maybe it was too much tension for you once. As a child, perhaps. Maybe you had a very open channel here. But it was too much. Whatever information you had here, when it came in, it was too much, breaching another realm here. A mysterious a realm of like alternate realities, multiverses, quantum fields, different beings, mystical, magical beings. That if you were, experience the world with the human eyes and with the third eye, and you could see everything. You could see dead people, perhaps, here. Maybe you could see dead people. Ancestors. All kinds, unicorns, all kinds of mystical and so-called non-living creatures here. The ancient ones, maybe you had information downloads coming in all the time and you had to shut it down. It became too much, right? Maybe you had to shut it down. You couldn't cope with it. That it sometimes happens with children if they're very open here. They can become psychotic, or they can have, some of these, what we call diagnosis. They could become very anxious and frightened and fearful, and they could develop what is called autism or ADHD or borderlines or some of these and maybe you have been living in or you have coped with your life but felt miserable. And maybe you have been using sleeping pills and to numb, to kind of keep it down. Eating pills for anxiety and fear and sleepless nights and things like that, because you were woken up here. You were woken up by something here. That you have an ability to see something. You have an ability to know something here. But it's all tied up, right? This High Priestess is all tied up. She doesn't know how to deal with this. It's like she's imprisoned. As I said, it could actually be a very big passion of yours. Like you may be drawn to the occult. You could be drawn to hand reading, hand readings, numerology, astrology, all these witchcraft, runes, old knowledge somehow, but at the same time being a bit scared of it. I'm not quite sure I should go there, right? Being afraid of it, maybe. One part of you wants to devour it because it is you. So when I say devour, it could be information, knowledge here. It could also be that you are fearing that if I somehow open this challenge, it's going to devour me. It's going to devour me. I will be trapped in some kind of like my mind will not be able to distinguish between what we call reality and other realms. So maybe you are fearful about like becoming, like just jumping in. But it is actually part of you to jump in. It's an inbuilt thing in you to jump in. But maybe you have taken the small route, just small steps towards it, right? Because you were afraid this would devour you. And it makes you all tied up to think about that. What if I can't control it? What if I become psychotic? Then I can't, work. I can't deal with my children, or I will maybe be hospitalized, right? What if I can't deal with this? I have to go slow. But it's not you, right? It's not really you. So the rest of rejuvenation here, all tied up, it seems like whatever you are realizing here is it's like there is a part of you that wants to be tied up. Untied. That wants to be untied. Not tied up. It wants to be untied. It has to do with an ability to look through time, to see other realms, to be able to talk to the deceased loved ones, maybe the ancient ones, seeing past lives, things like that. You have a great power here, I think, Scorpio. Whoever I'm talking to, it's like you can breach realms, you can see through, as I said, people's defenses or something. You have an ability to see something with other people, I think. The ancient ones, it's a card number 1. So this is definitely about the beginning, the beginning of time. Something about like ancient knowledge of past civilizations or something like that. Ancient, maybe sacred knowledge, sacred geometry, I don't know, crystals, something that could be, that was used once for healing or to have like really powerful impact. Manifestation powers, maybe. You have this, I think, very much. They are, all these 3 cards talk about it. This is the only one that says all tied up. And the way you can untie it is by resting, getting yourself out of an environment that you're usually in, choosing solitude maybe, sitting in nature, or going to a detox facility, as I said. Maybe this is a silence retreat on Iceland or something. Like you take yourself out of a normal environment. And you're doing that because you are embracing this journey here. If you embrace this journey, you will need this. And I think you know it. Like you know it. You know that maybe that's the bullseye. It's coming into your awareness that if you want to heal yourself, if you want to tie something up in yourself, if you want to know yourself more, you hear the call, I think, the call for like going on this journey, and you're standing here wondering, what if I do this? What if it takes over? What if I cannot control this? What if I I become psychotic, or it will demand my entire life. Then I can no longer be a dentist, and I've been a dentist all my life, perhaps, right? Or I can no longer be a business owner, because now I hear the call to be a shaman, or I hear the call to be an alternative healer, or I hear the call to be one of those who can speak to the dead, or, I can deliver messages from the ancient ones, from our ancestors, and maybe you don't want that. Like, maybe there's a part of you who doesn't want this, because you are quite comfortable with your life. Maybe you liked your life, or you maybe you don't want that tension. Maybe you don't want to leave something here. As I said, there are two choices: the more comfortable home, maybe the marriage, the children, the family life, and now it's calling you on a pilgrimage. It's calling you to be alone, to seek solitude, to go within, to maybe isolate yourself a bit, and you're standing in the midst of this, wondering, what am I supposed to do here? Maybe you're not quite trusting it, like not quite trusting that you can control it. What if I can't control this? What if it's devouring me? As I said, this thing coming in, devouring me, taking over, squeezing all the life out of me. But I'm saying, I just feel like it's not squeezing the life out of you. It's going to show you who you really are. Because what you have been living up to now is not the real you. It's an ego version of you. It's not the real you. This is the real you here. And it's in you, and it's asking you to connect. It's asking for you to connect with it. But you may fear that it's going to take over your entire life. And maybe you are not quite sure you want it. It's an invitation to jump on this ship. And if you're not doing it, it's like, you could say your ego will probably take over and protect you and shut the door again. The ego is a protector, right? And if this has been a thing in your life before, as a child perhaps, you have already shut it down once. You have done it once. Your ego can do it again. But your life will be... You will probably still have sleepless nights. You will still wake up in the middle of the night. You will still need the sleeping pills. You will still drink, perhaps, to fall asleep. You will still numb yourself. And this voice, or this thing in you, it is going to become louder and louder and louder. I'm talking from personal experience. Eventually, it's going to be louder and louder. I would encourage you to ask for God's protection. And if you want to take slow steps towards it, of course you can do that. And of course you can do that. Again, it's important not to end up in a rabbit hole. I had to stop myself at some point, because I realized this is a rabbit hole. So I had to change my strategy. And take myself out of like a certain direction I was pursuing at that time. I realized this is not helping me. This is actually just making everything worse. I don't feel like I get closer to my balance here. So I had to take myself out of it, but it took me a while before I recognized it. And I feel like there are some very like considerations here. You're wondering if you can control it. Can I have a card of on this Two of Michael, please? King of Area. It says here your plans are working out very well. Professional and financial success, using resources wisely. So successful, stable, accomplished, powerful, right? So I asked for a card on this. You're wondering whether you will be successful in this. Is that something I can live off? Can I have success as this? As a, I don't know, an alternative healer, a shaman, a psychic? Can I live from that? Can I have a financial income from this? The Two of Michael here is this, you're not sure whether you can have this or not. But I also think that, what if I could? What if I could become this one? I would be a powerful warlock then. Or, like this idea of being a magical human, a magician, right? If I could be that, that is kind of alluring you, right? This is the occultic side of, you could say, or the mystical side. It's luring you in here. It's like you can't seem to just leave it behind. There's something about it that is alluring you here, luring you in. It's like you hear the call of it, and it's like you're wondering if you can live off this, and if you could have a can I support my family with this? Can I support myself with this? Can I be successful in this? But if I could be powerful. Because if I'm actually handling this, if I can somehow own it, I know stuff. Here. I could be, if I know stuff here from a different time, from the future and in the ancient times, if I know this, I have an advantage, right? I would know something other people don't know. I could become powerful in that way. And that could be what lures you in, the power of something. So again, what's your intentions here, and what are your true raw feelings in something here? What are the true raw feelings? And are you driven by ego, or are you driven by love and respect for something? Do you have respect for this? Or are you driven by the power of it? If you chooses to go on this journey, is it because of the power that it gives you? But I want to say, usually with these cards here, I want to say, to be able to open the door to this realm here, you usually have to heal your heart a lot. You also have to allow for your senses to become more sensitive, and sit in meditation or choose more silence. So it's going to change your life. To open this up, it's going to change your life. You will not have the same life, because you will be sensitive to city noise and maybe pollution and stuff, adjectives in food and something like that. It's part of the spiritual journey. It's the opening up of these senses require a different lifestyle. So you could say, is there a price to pay for a certain amount of power here? Yeah, it may seem like that. It may seem like that. Because you can uphold another, or the usual, you can uphold the usual existence that you have had up till now. It will be different. If you go on this journey, it will be different. Your life will change. But it will not feel like something is just taking over. It's changing because you are changing. And your worldviews, your ways of seeing things and understanding the world, it's changing you. You change your perception. And therefore you make new decisions. So the meditation here, the solitude perhaps, the detox here, the decluttering. This could be decluttering also of programming. I want to say it's not something that is just pulled over your head like that. It's a process that kind of just I feel like it comes with time, and it comes with realizations about your life. Then it actually becomes almost a need, like it becomes a need to make changes. It feels more right. It feels like to accommodate myself more on my journey here, to accommodate myself more. It's actually a sense of inner satisfaction that you're taking better care of yourself here. The dialogue, the inner dialogue you're having is allowing for you to find a sense of more peace with yourself, more connection. And yes, you will have information in the process. You will receive certain kind of information here in the process. And you can choose to like go slowly towards the goal, because that is maybe you feel that is better for you. I would think a little bit about your intentions here. What are your intentions? Is it about becoming powerful? Like a powerful warlock, something like that? And what do you intend to use this information on here? What do you want to do with it? And this can also be interesting because maybe you start the journey to gain some kind of advantage, to obtain some kind of goal, to get something. But during this process, you probably change your entire intentions. And you are now aiming for something else. At least I know I did. I started out with one thing that kind of kick-started my more intentional healing. But now I see it entirely different. And my goals now are also very different. Yeah, this is what I have, Scorpio, for you. So we'll see, are you jumping on this ride, or maybe you are already in this process, you're already there. And I want to say, when you are on this journey, you will have multiple things coming up like this, where you have to make choices. Like this can be the feeling of an ego death, where you're standing with, let's say, an old behavior and something you just realized that you want to do, or this has now become a goal for you. So you have to kind of weigh up what is most important for you, what feels most authentic maybe, what is most healing or most caring or most loving or whatever. So you will have several of these come up. I've had many of them come up here. And I'm still on my journey. I think I've come closer and closer, and I have had some very profound realizations just now with this Scorpio full moon that I really think is going to change something for me. But again, it's still in the making. It's in my mind, right? So again, take it how it resonates for you. I don't know where you are on your journey here. But I definitely see meditation, rest, solitude perhaps, going within, seeking silence, going with the hermit, going within, looking for answers here, self-care, self-healing, self-forgiveness maybe. Maybe following a program, as I said, getting awareness about something, and you will have these choices here, where you need to weigh up what feels most right for you, or what is the best decision here, or what is the best intention. This could talk about that you're changing intentions. That you had one intention at the get-go, and now you have changed it completely. Your goal, your vision, your understanding, your perception, your knowledge has changed entirely. So now you're making different choices. Or you are standing in front of a big one here. Like you're standing in front of a really big change. Something that it changes your entire life perhaps. That if you make this choice, it's like there's no going back. Or I don't know if it's going to be successful, but I just know I have to do this. And you're still debating with yourself, the weighing up here, whether you can do this, whether you are ready, or Again, accepting something about yourself can also be a difficult task. And the saying no, that sometimes we have to say no to people in our lives because we are choosing something for ourselves, right? That if you want this, maybe you have to say no to something else. Yeah, this is what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope this helped somehow. I don't know. I just feel like there's something I should close off with somehow. Maybe it's because I get this feeling of being very indecisive about something, not trusting it, not relying on it, maybe not wanting it even. What is the advice here for Scorpio if you're really, really struggling with this? So I get yin and yang card. Yeah. So the yin and yang for me always talks about like the two sides of a coin, the two sides of every story. There is something to be gained by opening these doors and by the journey, but there's maybe also something to lose, right? Every decision you make in life, every decision you've made up till now comes with a pro and con. Something was maybe achieved by your choices and something was given up. So I want to say, if you can somehow get to terms with the duality of you, so the shadow in you, the element here that you haven't quite unlocked yet, or you are about to, or something, there is an advantage with it, but there's also a disadvantage. And which do you choose, right? To come to terms with, but there's also a disadvantage to stay where you are. There's an advantage, a pro and a con. To stay where you are is, you kind of know what that is, I think. And as I said in the beginning, it's like you're not happy there. That it's like that there's something missing there. So you can stay there and be still feeling that you miss something. That something is, that you long for something more. So staying there is allowing you to stay in that so-called comfort zone, but it's not comfortable there. Going on this journey is not a holiday. This is also not going to be comfortable, but there is something to be gained from it. So as soon as you come to terms with this, and if you look back, the choices you have had in your life, the choices you've made in your life, all of that comes with a pro and con. All of it. There's something to be gained, there's something to be lost. If you were a single person, you had the freedom of being single, but at the same time you couldn't have close intimacy and because you were not in that relationship. So there's something to be gained and something to be lost, or something to, every situation, everything you've done in your life comes with pro and con. There's something to be gained. There's also something to be lost. Or to give up, perhaps, or sever from, right? Maybe you need to sever from something to allow more of this in. Maybe you can't be a party person because the loud noises, the loud music is blocking all of this for you. You know, if you have been drinking a lot, the drinking is also not allowing you to hear properly. The things that come in could be distorted, right? And misinterpreted here. But if you clean up, the things you're going to hear, the things you're going to connect with becomes more and more clear. So there's something to be gained, there's something to be given up, severed from, perhaps. And the sooner you get to terms with that, the more, maybe the easier it is. Because if you look back at your life and how you have coped with this, you will know that being all tied up here is really feeling awful for you. So the more you're trying to repress it, the more you're trying to keep it down, the more miserable you feel, the more sleeping pills you need, or the more drinking you do, right? So it's not a good situation anyway. It was not good anyway. Maybe you have to speak to someone and saying, I hear voices, right? I hear voices. I know that if you go to a psychiatrist with that, they will give you certain pills because you have some kind of, you're suffering from some kind of hallucinatory state. If you are going to a healer or a shaman or some kind of spiritual teacher, they may be more interested in how it comes in. How does it present itself for you? And what kind of information is it? What kind of information is coming in? What is it about? To determine whether is this an illness, a psychological illness, or is this actually like information from some other realm here? I think that it's all about choices, right? What kind of choice? Again, if I make one choice, it will be maybe beneficial in one area, but not as beneficial in another area. So I will gain something here, but lose something here. If I make this choice, I will gain something here, but lose something here, right? Or feel detached from this. It's like, can I have both? It could be nice to be able to have both, right? Maybe you can have both if you somehow are honest. If you're honest with your family, with your spouse, with your friends or family. Yeah, family, I said. Maybe you can have both. I don't know. You just have to be aware that if you speak to someone about this, either they will understand and support you, or they will run away, perhaps. Right? You just have to be aware that both scenarios are possible. Yeah, I think this is it. This is what I have, Scorpio. I hope this helped. If I have crossed the line with some of the things I said, this is me. This is what I do. I don't really. I know I can be quite provocative, maybe, and step over a line. But I'm kind of like that. I'm into this idea of taking off the masks. I really want to not, and I speak what I see and what I hear. Yeah. So this is what I have. I hope this helped, or somehow. Yeah, I hope this helped somehow. I send you my very best, Scorpio. Take care of yourself. Love and light. Bye-bye.